Hey guys, Mario here. Just wanted to run through what we might have missed with class, running through my slides real quick and explaining a couple things. So hopefully you have time to watch this. So some of you guys have had me in class already, so I'll try and keep this brief. I want to start by just saying that, my name is Mario Fontana, Dr. Mario Fontana, but I'm not super comfortable with Dr. Fontana. I do have a PhD. I got it from the University of Kansas last year on sport and exercise psychology. But for me, I'm happy if you just call me Mario. Some people on campus really want the doctor and, obviously show people the respect they're looking for by that. But for me, I'd much more comfortable if you just call me Mario. If other professors around, just say Dr. Mario or whatever. It's not really a big deal. So that doesn't mean I'm not going to grade you harder or grade you less hard. I mean, I'm still really going to be tough, but that's just how I'll be the most comfortable. It's the easiest way for me to communicate. I lived in Boston for a while before I was in Kansas, and I grew up in Vermont, so really love the Northeast and hope to get back there someday. We'll see how it goes. I'm really into racquetball, so if anybody wants to play racquetball, that'd be great. Same thing with wiffle ball. And if you're a novice, I can teach you both pretty well. I used to teach racquetball at KU. If you want to get a hold of me, email's really good. Happy to deal with that. I'm in Gerber 118. I'm in my office a lot, so shouldn't have a problem getting a hold of me. Just email me ahead of time just to let me know you're going to be there. I have an office phone number. The phone hasn't rung yet. I don't expect to be picking that phone up a lot, but I will if I'm in the office. There's no answering machine. And Twitter is really good too. I'm going to be posting a lot of stuff that I think is just good. It's stuff you can use in class to make your projects better. So I would follow me on Twitter if you have Twitter. These are the characters in my life who I will refer to a lot about in class. In the middle there is my wife, Brooke. We've been married for 8 years on Tuesday, which is very exciting. That's our daughter Addison on the right. She's 14 months. We also have a three-legged dog. She's really a lot of fun. I'm hoping to make her a therapy dog and be able to bring her to hospitals to visit sick kids and war vets and stuff. She's really great. At night, she masquerades as Bat Dog. She's a lot of fun. I hope to bring her into class one time so you can all meet her. If you're terrified of dogs, please let me know so I can avoid doing that. So I talked a little bit about how to get a hold of me already. Big thing you need to know for this class is no textbooks. Um, a lot of the classes I teach, the books are already ordered, but this was one where I could order my own books. I don't really like textbooks. I don't typically believe in them, but the books I bought, I really do believe in. And so we've got three I'm going to go over real quick. These books are so important for you to read. They're very good. They're easy to read. I think you'll enjoy them. It's not like reading boring text, but you have to read the text to be successful in this class. And you have to read it on time so we can discuss it. So please do that. I will say that there are no tests, so that's a good thing. Everything we do in this class is different. I don't really believe in tests either, so hopefully that is agreeable to you. So the first book we're going to start reading, and you need to start reading 3 chapters for the next class on Wednesday, is this book, The Grasshopper: Tales Life in Utopia by Bernard Suits. It's a really great book. If you're not familiar with the tale of the grasshopper, it's the story by this guy Aesop it's a philosopher's tale from way back, and it was this idea that there was a grasshopper kind of singing songs and playing in the meadow, kind of goofing off in the summer, and an ant who was collecting food, getting ready for the harvest, getting ready for the winter. Um, in the typical story, the winter comes and the ants are kind of happy in their caves and living, and the grasshopper, who saved no food and spent his whole summer goofing around, dies. And the idea of the tale is to tell people that you have to do work in order to in order to live. Later tales, when kind of adapted for children's work, suggested that the grasshopper actually went to the door, knocked on the door, and said, "I'm cold. Could you let me in?" And they begrudgingly let him in. And as it turns out, the ants are really bored all winter because all they have is their food, and they didn't enjoy anything, so they have no stories. And so the grasshopper, in exchange for warmth and food, kind of entertains them with song and dance and tells them stories of all the things that he's seen. So we're going to talk a lot about this book. it's really great. This this book is basically this idea that the original idea the grasshopper died, but then this guy in heaven, basically this guy Skepticus, they strike up the story about sports, and the grasshopper gives his philosophical ideas on what gameplay. And this is going to be a really tricky concept for some of you, and I don't expect it to be easy, but it's going to be really good once we start to grasp it. So really hoping that you guys really take the time, said really a lot, take the time to read through this. It will be confusing, but just be patient with me. I'll explain a lot of it. The second book we're going to read this semester is written by John Wooden. It's kind of about his coaching leadership philosophy. If you don't know Wooden, he was arguably the greatest coach in the history of the 20th century, maybe ever. He won 10 of 11 NCAA basketball championships with UCLA in the 60s and 70s, and just I love his ideas, and I think knowing Wooden is required for anybody who wants to be a good coach. And we're going to talk a lot about how his work deals with psychological aspects of sports and philosophical aspects of sport, and I think it will really engage a lot of good discussion. So very excited to read this book. I read it in a week. I mean, it's a real quick read, so I wouldn't be intimidated by it at all. The final of the books we're going to read is by Joe Ehrmann. He used to be an NFL lineman and had a troubled growing up. He was abused as a child and really felt like sport, when done wrong, was promoting along a lot of the wrong messages. He deals a lot about the topic of what masculinity is and what it is to be, kind of, a man versus kind of this unrealistic version of manliness that we all kind of get through sport. So he's a real advocate for teaching people to care more and not be afraid to love and show emotion. And so it's just a really good book. I'm excited to get into it and talk about it a little bit. I don't take attendance for classes. The reason is not because I don't like you. In fact, it's my goal to get to know your names really quickly. My reason I don't take attendance is because I believe that you're kind of paying my salary and you have a right to come to class or not come to class. Having said that, if you can't come to class, I'm not going to pander to you. I know some people have school commitments and we'll work around those, but if you're not in class, that's kind of going to be bad on you, because we're going to talk a lot and you're going to hopefully get a lot of intelligent ideas from the class to incorporate in your papers and your projects. So kind of, don't come to class if you want, and maybe you'll do well, but I think you'll really do well in this class if you actually show up. If you just look at the breakdown, basically I did the math. If you're from in-state, you pay about $13 a class, and you're from out-of-state, you pay about $19 a class. So, anytime you don't show up to class, you're basically wasting that Monday. You're basically setting $20 on fire. So please, just come to class. It's not going to hurt. This class is going to be really fun. I've spent a lot of time on it. Um, I this is kind of, without saying, but I have zero tolerance for cheaters, so I don't think you could cheat in this class because it's so unique and so different. Don't think there's a term paper website where you could sign up for to have someone write a paper. Maybe you could. If I find that you're cheating, I'm going to persecute it to the fullest extent of the NSU law. I think cheating is the worst thing you can do, especially in a philosophy class. We're going to talk a lot about fair play. So I just have no patience for that, and I just want to say right now, I don't care if we have a good relationship or not. Cheating is not all right with me. Also, I don't really have due dates. I mean, I do, and I want you to hand stuff in on time, but if you feel like you need a couple days to make a paper good, or you need a little extra time to make your project good, by all means take it. My only real rule of thumb on this is if you don't make the suggested deadlines, I can't guarantee that I'll get it graded in time for, before the end of the semester. And some things you need graded right away. So, if you need a day, maybe even a week sometimes, I can understand that. If you hand me something a month later, I'll take it, but there's just not a guarantee that I'll actually grade it and you'd get a 0. So be judicious, but also don't be afraid to ask for more time, because I want you to produce the best work possible. The biggest thing of any class you take with me is caring and respect. I really believe in this idea that I need to care for you as a teacher, and I need you to care for me and care for others. We can't learn unless we're all working together. We can't learn to our optimal ability unless we're very open to other people's opinions. There's going to be a lot of people to disagree in this class because coaching philosophies are by definition very different. And something that I say or something that somebody else says might not be the same as what you believe. And we need to just do our best is to appreciate other people's opinion and do our best to get them all the information that they need so they can make their best, they can formulate their best opinion. The worst thing you can do in life, well, one of the worst things you can do in life is to form clear opinions on things without being informed. That's really foolish, and I advise against that. So, but the only way to be really informed is to talk to people and get other people's opinions and be really smart. There's no black and white in this world. There's a lot of gray area, or mostly gray area. There's some black and white, so be mindful of that. You know, don't ridicule people. That's a terrible thing to do. How would you ever learn? How would you ever feel like you're being the best you can be if you feel like you're being ridiculed? I won't stand for that. I think that everybody has something to offer, and everybody can really do some good things, and we need to share ideas in order to be at our best. So for your first assignment, due Wednesday, I want you to do a credo. Credo is one page, kind of defining your belief system in sport. What do you care about in sport? What do you think is important? Why do you think sport is important? You could talk about competing. You could talk about winning and losing. You could talk about how hard you try. You could even talk about why you're here and what you think it means to take a coaching philosophy class. Again, the only rule is that it's one page. It could be single spaced. It could be triple spaced, whatever's best for you to get your thoughts out on the page. And we're going to revisit this at the end. So that's 5 points. Definitely please get that in for Thursday, in addition to reading the first 3 chapters of the Grasshopper. Definitely you want to be reading those chapters because we're going to talk about it pretty in depth. With that, I'm about finished for today. I want to touch on a couple other things, but we'll wait till we get in class. I apologize again for missing class. Really not my intention. I didn't do a great job there today, but please cut me some slack, as it's actually my first day on campus, first full day in Aberdeen here. So I'm just got a lot going on, and the day got away from me a bit. But I'll be better this week. So thanks for taking time to read this or watch this, and we'll see you Wednesday. Please swing by my office if you need anything.